So Canon have started to announce some of the specs for the Canon EOS R5, and on paper they look absolutely awesome. But there's still a lot about this camera we don't know, and that's got me thinking, what would be the top 10 features that I'd like to see in this camera? So I decided to put together this list. Now the only rule for this list is they must be realistic features that could be included in the camera. I'd love for the camera to be gold and be able to shoot lasers, but that's obviously not going to happen. These have to be things that other camera companies have implemented in their cameras, and therefore it could be realistic that Canon could include it in the EOS R5. First thing on the list, number one, is I want there to be a proper intervalometer built into this camera. You've got the motion time-lapse video thing on the EOS R, but I want a full proper intervalometer. I want the ability to be able to take one raw frame after the other that I can then take into Lightroom and edit until my heart's content, and I can combine into a video later on. Number two, I want the ability to record to an external hard drive. This is something that Blackmagic have been able to do with their cameras for a number of years now, so I can't see there being a problem with Canon implementing this. This can't be technology that's out of reach to a massive company like Canon. And with the EOS R5 able to shoot raw 8K video, you're going to need as much storage media as possible. So the idea of recording out over a USB-C to an external SSD makes sense. Number three is I want super slow motion, 240 frames a second please. Now I know this might be pushing things in the 8K video and even in the 4K video, so I'll happily settle for it in HD, even if that is a windowed crop in on the sensor. Number four, I want time. That's time in the viewfinder. This is personal to me, but this is my list after all. I get fed up when I'm out on a shoot, having to go in my pocket, fumble around, get my phone to find out what time it is, or even worse, wear a watch that I don't own. Now, I know this seems pretty simple, but for me, I like the idea of putting the time in the viewfinder somewhere, so every now and again I can just check and see what time we're on. Number five, I want dual native ISO like in the video cameras. So if you don't know what this is, it's where your sensor has two base ISOs, and as you increase the ISO and you increase the noise in your image, you get to the new higher base ISO and that noise floor drops away again. Number six, I want them to find a new position for the mic jack on the side of the camera. Currently on the EOS R, if you flip the screen around to film yourself and plug a microphone at the same time, the cable from the microphone obscures the monitor. I can't see there being much point in having a flip screen if you're not going to use that to film yourself. But then to have a lead obscure your view kind of makes it pointless. Number seven, built-in memory. I want the camera to have some form of built-in memory for when I forget my SD cards. I don't see why a camera, just like your mobile phone, can't have some form of built-in memory, and then you can use your SD cards to expand on that memory. This would be a great safety backup, and might even eliminate the need for two card slots, although that of course is the holy grail. Number eight, I want to be able to charge the batteries in the camera. Now Sony have had this feature in their camera for a long time, so again I don't see why this is something that Canon can't implement. If you want to charge the batteries in the EOS R at the moment, you need to have the battery grip. I don't actually like charging in the camera, I would prefer to have an external charger, but it's a nice backup to have in an emergency if you don't have your charger with you and you just want to add some more power. Plus it also gives you the option to power the camera from an external battery bank. Number nine, I want zebras for exposure. This is a feature that's in many video cameras and still cameras from other manufacturers as well. Canon have included a histogram in the EOS R, but when you press record, it disappears for some strange reason. Can we just have zebras? I think that would be a big improvement, and it's another tool in your arsenal to be able to get perfect exposure. Number 10 is internal NDs. Now, I know there's not a lot of space on a mirrorless camera to be able to fit an ND in there between the sensor and the lens, but video cameras have found a way around this, particularly with Sony. They have an electronic ND. I can't see why that couldn't be implemented into a stills camera as well, or a hybrid camera really, like the EOS R5 is going to be. Right, that's my list. Is there anything on there that you think Canon will implement? Or is there anything you think I should have included on the list that we're likely to get that I haven't said? Let me know in the comments, and like, subscribe, all that good stuff, and bye.